What's up, guys? We're back again today with another great video, and in today's video we're actually going to be working on the Highlander. We got something really cool from the Cartrimhome. I've actually been wanting this for a little while for the Highlander. I just think it'll make it a lot cooler on the inside experience. I'm actually super jealous that I don't have one on the Corvette. So let's go ahead and we'll jump straight into the product and showing you that, and then we'll go ahead and install it on the car. And it's got a cool special feature that our car does not currently have, that's going to also make the car a little bit nicer. So let's go ahead and jump into it and we'll check out the product. Alright guys, so here is the product. It is actually a carbon fiber steering wheel, which is really cool. That's why I'm jealous that I'm not getting one in the Corvette, or not getting one just yet. So with the steering wheel, what makes it really cool is obviously, yes, it is carbon fiber. Her factory wheel, actually, it was kind of during COVID time, and we don't really know exactly what happened, but obviously we were using a lot of hand sanitizer, and I think it dried out the leather down at the bottom, so it's peeling real bad, like in this area on her factory steering wheel. So this will be really nice to go ahead and put in the car. Plus, you guys know that I've wrapped a couple things like the grill and different stuff like that in carbon fiber, so it'll just kind of match the theme we're going for. One thing that's super nice about this one is it actually does have the heating element inside of it. As you guys may know, the XLEs do not actually have heated steering wheels, or at least ours does not. It's a 2021 Highlander, so it did not come with the heated steering wheel. So what's really cool is Cartrimhome actually sent this one out with the heating element and everything in it, and we're going to see if we can get it to work in here. I don't know if they've ever had anybody do this before for the newer Highlanders, so we're kind of going to be doing this, you know, we'll be the first people to do it. But the wiring harness and everything that they send is back there, and it actually looks like a factory harness. Super nice. It should be pretty much plug and play for the most part, so I'll show you guys that step by step. So if you guys want to add the heating element to your steering wheel, this will be a good video for you guys to watch. Or if you're just trying to take off your steering wheel to put another steering wheel on, it'll also help you with that as well. One thing too that I want to tell you guys before we get started is their steering wheels are completely customizable, which is really cool. We just kind of wanted to do a black on black theme, so it just matched the interior of the car, but they'll actually put like a center line right here in red or blue or whatever you may want if you want like a more sporty look. They have a couple different kinds of leather that you can do, and then color of leather, and then you can actually pick the stitching. But as you guys can see, we just kind of did the whole blackout thing because it's kind of the, you know, the vibe we're going for in this car. But there is other options for it as well, and I'll actually have those popped up right here on the side. That way you can kind of see them while I'm talking about them. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into the car and we'll start taking the factory steering wheel off, and then from there we can go ahead and start installing this one. All right, so we're inside the car now. I'll just show you guys kind of what that peeling looked like that I was talking about down here. So first things first, what you're going to want to do is if you look to the side of the steering wheel here and here, we're actually going to pop those off, and then it'll give us access to these kind of like metal springs that we're going to push back with a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, and then that'll allow us to get the airbag out, which then will allow us to get the nut off the steering wheel, which should be a 19 millimeter. And then that'll let us pull this steering wheel off. One thing while you're doing this is you might have to lock it in place left or right, and then once you do that, you might want to start the car and just center your steering wheel up as good as you can, so that way when you put the new steering wheel on, everything is still centered up. So just make sure you do that. First things first though, I'm going to jump out here, pop the hood, and disconnect the ground on the battery terminal, because when you're taking this airbag out, you do not want your battery hooked up. For obvious reasons, you don't want the airbags to go off while you're messing with them. So just wanted to show you guys real quick. So we got the battery disconnected. That is a 10 millimeter. So just go in with a trim tool, and then I'm doing this with one hand, but then you'll pry out on it, and it should pop right out just like that. And then you'll get access in here to the pegs. And I'll try to get a flashlight, that way you guys can see it. Or I can even show you it on the carbon fiber steering wheel as well, because it has these pegs in it as well that releases the airbag. And then you're also going to do the same thing on this side as well. As you guys can see right here is this panel. And you'll do the same thing, take your pry tool, pop it out, and it'll allow you to see the prongs on this side. And the prongs I'm talking about, that way you guys know, is as you guys can see, there's a circle here, here, and here. And there's actually plastic clips on the back side of this airbag that go into that. And these metal retaining clips, as you guys can see, they're kind of like springs in a sense, but you're going to take a flathead screwdriver and you'll pry it open. So let me do this one. It should be the easiest one for me to get to. So you'll take a screwdriver, and when you push it up, it's actually really tight. I can't even do it with my hand, but basically you're going to come in and you're going to push this upward, and as you guys can see right there, it opens up, and then it'll allow you to pull the airbag out. So that's what we are gaining access to by undoing those panels. All right, so as you guys saw in the time lapse, I just kind of worked around. I did have to get a flashlight to be able to see the other two prongs right here and right here, because they're stuck up there pretty good. So just make sure you have a longer skinny screwdriver, that way you can get to those and pry them out. But honestly, it comes out pretty easy once you're able to do that, and we didn't hurt the clips in any way at all. So this is what it looks like once you get your airbag out. So now we're going to have to take off the two connections going to the airbag itself. This is one thing you might want to stop and take a picture of with your phone, because if you don't, if you put these back the wrong way, it could obviously make the airbag go off or not go off when it's supposed to. So just take your time and make sure you take a picture of which one goes where here. So on these, they actually have the safety clips right here, as you guys can see. So you'll actually pop those up first. Let me see if I can do it with one hand here. So you're actually going to take and pop the orange clip up just like that, and then you'll take the connector off just like this. If I can do it with one hand, we'll see here. So just like that. So same thing on this one, pop the orange clip up and take it off. All right, so once you got those two off, and obviously it'd be hard to mess this up because they are color coordinated here as well. Now you've got your ground, which is right here, and that's actually what makes your horn work. So we'll just grab that and just slide it off just like that. So now that we've got the ground off, the only thing you got to do is take this plastic clip off that actually holds the wires in place. You'll actually just take a flathead screwdriver and you can go right here in between the metal part and the plastic clip, trying to get it to focus in, but there's a plastic clip that comes up here and a metal clip right there. Just put your screwdriver in between and push up on it, and then it should unlock just like that, and then you'll slide it the rest of the way off. Obviously I'm trying to do this with one hand here. So, and now we've got our airbag disconnected. So in older models of the Highlander, this was actually a 19mm right here, but on this model obviously it is a hex head. So hopefully I have the right hex head. If not, I will have to go grab it, and then I'll let you guys know what size this is going to be. All right, guys, so I actually have this torque set here, and it's actually a T10. If you guys don't have one of these are great and not really that expensive. I'll actually leave a link down below to Amazon for this. Super nice, and it has pretty much anything and everything you're going to need to do, you know, work on cars and stuff. So, like I said before, this is a 10mm hex head. My steering wheel is actually already locked. As you guys can see, it'll only go so far this way and this way, and we're a little off to this side right now. Now, obviously, older cars, you know, you had, or cars that still had the key, you could put that in there, turn your key, and you could unlock the steering wheel and straighten it up, and then we could pull it off, and then we'd know to put the carbon fiber one straight on. But where this is a push button start, there's no way for me to unlock it unless I put the ground wire back on the battery, which I don't know if it would throw a code. You guys can take the risk of either throwing a code or not throwing a code. I'm just not going to mess with it. So I'm going to take a mental note that we're a little bit to the left side right here, and that's how I'll put my new steering wheel on. And then don't forget to unhook your harness right here dead center. You don't have to unhook this one because that one's actually connected into your steering column itself. This is the harness that runs both your switches, and what you'll do is just take your finger, go up top, push it down, and then you'll be able to slide it right out just like that. So now let's go ahead and we'll undo the steering wheel itself. All right, so now that we've got the bolt out, the only thing we got to do is pull it straight off, and then just kind of feed your harness through right here, just like that. And then now we've got the old steering wheel off, and now we can go ahead and we can transfer our buttons and this trim, and then the trim right here on the back. We can transfer all that over to our carbon fiber steering wheel. All right, so we got both of our steering wheels side by side here. As you guys can see, we've got some Phillips head down there. I'm going to start with this top part, and then we'll pop the trim off the back. So I'm going to go ahead and put you guys in a time lapse while I kind of work through this, and I'll show you exactly what I did once I do it and kind of see how it's going to come apart. Alright, so that wasn't too awful bad. So you're going to take the two screws out that you see up front, and then I flipped it over to the back side, and I just took the pry tool and started at the bottom and just kind of pried up and popped off on here and here when I had it flipped over, and then did the same thing up here and just popped it back, and then I just basically grabbed it with my hands and pulled it off, as you guys saw in the time lapse, to get this piece off. So that wasn't that bad at all. And then kind of the same thing for this one as well. Just make sure you're easy with this one because you don't want any of your trim pieces to break. Same thing is kind of pried at the bottom, and then pried on either side right here, and then I just use my thumbs to kind of push. Just put my thumbs here and here to just kind of push that out at the same time, because you don't want to put that in the piece of plastic in a bind, because then it could potentially break. So as you guys can see, there's the pegs that line it up, and also the pegs that hold it in. So now let's go ahead and we'll take this and we'll put it on the carbon fiber steering wheel, and then we'll be ready to install it back on the car. All right, so there we go. We've got all of our buttons coming through. We've got our two screws put back in here. We've got our extra heating element wire right here, and then our wire, our harness that goes to both switches here to make them work, running right through the center. And as you guys can see, the fitment is pretty dang good on the sides. Pretty good. This is what it looks like all put together. So now let's go ahead and install it back in the car. All right, so we're back in the car and we've got the steering wheel ready to go. I'm actually going to make a separate video of how to make the heating element and all that stuff work, just so this video don't get too long. And I'm going to talk back and forth to them about a couple things with the heating element first as well. So what you're going to want to do is just make sure that this is in the right spot that it was in. Obviously, when you took the steering wheel off, make sure you're lining it up to as close as you can get it to what it was when you took the old steering wheel off. That way your steering wheel is not weird or anything like that. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into it. All right, so I've got everything lined up like it was before. We were one gear. So as you guys can see, it's kind of set up like a gear in here. So we were one spline over from center on the old one. So same place there. So now you're going to want to go ahead and take your harness and hook it back in right like that. So now once you've got that harness on there, this is actually the heating element harness. I'm just going to tuck it down right here for now, because I'm going to talk to them a little bit about that, because it would be really nice if we could use this right here. The harness that they sent me originally doesn't go to here, so this is kind of like the beta test for this car in a sense, to make the heating element work. So we're going to figure that out for you guys, so that way it makes it easier when you guys install it. So I'll have another video on how to hook all that up. So let's go ahead and we'll jump into a time lapse really quick, and I'll put this on and hook all this up together, and then I'll tell you guys the torque spec. I'll actually pop it up at the bottom of the screen, that way you guys know what it is. But make sure you do this to a torque spec, because you don't want your steering wheel coming off while you're driving down the road. All right, so what I could tell is the torque spec says anywhere from between 15 and 25, depending on the bolt size right here. So I just did this one at 20. So that way we're right in the center there, and it's really tight. I mean, the steering wheel is not coming off. So now let's go ahead and we'll jump back into the time lapse and put the airbag on. All right, so nice, simple, and easy. I wish I would have showed you guys. I popped it back on first, but when you put those clips back into the back of your airbag, make sure you push down the orange tabs, because that's what locks it into place. And then make sure you grab them and wiggle them and make sure they're not loose or anything. And then don't forget to put that purple ground wire back on, and then your plastic clip that holds the wires where it's supposed to be at, make sure you slide that back on to the metal prong that comes out to hold that. And then when you go to push this in, when you push it down, you'll actually hear all three of these clip in. So make sure you hear 3 clicks, click, 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 because if you don't hear all 3 of them, then one of them hadn't went in all the way. So once you hear that, and then obviously your battery's disconnected, so your horn's not going to go off right now. So now the only thing we got to do to finish up this whole install for the steering wheel is go ahead and put our little trim pieces on here and here, and then we're ready to drive the car. And then, like I said, you'll see a video come up maybe in a couple weeks about how to do the heating element and turn it on and everything. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it for today's video. I know I've kind of told you guys a couple times, there will be a second video on how to make the heating steering wheel function work. I'm going to communicate back and forth with Cartrimhome on that. We were kind of in a time crunch today filming the video. Plus, I kind of want to ask them a couple questions, and we might even be able to make it a little bit simpler install for you guys in the future. So anyway, again, a big thank you to Cartrimhome, because they allow me to make all these videos for you guys and show you some of their cool products that they make. This is probably one of my favorite ones that I've installed on the car, just because it's made such a huge difference to the inside of the car. Taylor loves it as well. She obviously drives the Highlander every day, and just having that steering wheel in there is really, really cool. Hopefully we can get the carbon fiber Toyota badge to go on the airbag, so it'll all kind of match and flow together. Cartrimhome makes one of those as well, and hopefully I can install one of those carbon fiber steering wheels on the Corvette soon, because that would be super nice, or maybe even a forged carbon fiber one on the Corvette. And also, guys, down below is a $100 discount, so you guys can use that if you want to get one of the steering wheels, and the link to the product itself will be down below in the description as well. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you all watching the video. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe so I can continue making cool videos for you guys. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, and remember, build your masterpiece.
Hey, I got something to say. I'm just so sick of hearing everyone complain. I know it's tough and I know there's pain.